What do you think free agency? What positions, what areas do you think the Browns might look to because of strength of this free agent class?
Well, I think they'll look at a little bit of everything. Just like in the draft, it's a strong defensive free agency class as well. So I think they'll look around for some help in the secondary, linebackers, defensive line, you name it. So that's one thing that they'll look at. They can always find a couple of other receivers if they need them. And again, I don't think they're going to go crazy in free agency. They signed 11, 12 unrestricted free agents last year. I don't think you'll see that many this year. They don't have that many holes on the roster. Last year, they were aggressively overhauling this roster. That's not happening this year. Now I think they need about 5 or 6 impact players to help get this team over the top, and they don't have a crying need at any one position.
Do you think they will look for guys that maybe have played for Coach Wilks on the defensive side of the ball in the past? Is that familiarity something you keep an eye on?
Yeah, I asked him about that too when we had a press conference with him, and he did say that maybe if there are some guys out there that he does have that familiarity with, that he can attract them here. I think the good thing about free agency is the Browns have the right pieces in place, including Baker Mayfield, that guys are going to want to come here. And not just in free agency, but in trades. John Dorsey is very big on trading for guys that need a change of scenery, that for whatever reason they have worn out their welcome perhaps in the place that they're in, sort of like an Antonio Brown in Pittsburgh, although I don't know if he will try to trade for him or not. But, guys like that are in the prime of their career and they just need to be somewhere else.
Well, the other thing that we learned here at the NFL Scouting Combine is both Freddie Kitchens and John Dorsey looking for some specific things here at the Combine.
There's depth along a lot of the positions. It just so happens this year that, the defensive line, to me, truly sticks out over all the other positions.
We really use the combine. I'm from the old school of thought of just tell me what's on tape, per se. That's what Coach Parcells used to say. Just tell me what kind of football player they are. But so this week, more for me than anything else, is just to get to know the kid, get to know the person, see what makes him tick. See what makes him mad, see what makes him happy, see what makes him motivated. All the people aspects and the intangibles that you try to get a grasp on during the course of the week for me.
Well, it's defensive line. We all know that. But if you really look in the draft at different positions along the draft, there's some really nice depth in day 2 and early part of day 3. So I think that overall, this draft class is a pretty good draft class, and I think the defensive line really helps that.
Mary Kay, when you talk draft, that's obviously what the Combine leads to. What areas are strengths of this draft? What areas do you think the Browns might look to address in the draft?
Well, it's a very deep defensive class. Everywhere you look, there is one defensive lineman after another, and there will be plenty of good ones when they get to number 17 overall. Just lots of good guys, whether it be defensive end, defensive tackle, you name it. There are a ton. There are the edge rushers and those kinds of guys. There are the run-stuffing defensive tackles. There's one that's kind of controversial, Jeffrey Simmons. He's someone that, like Kareem Hunt, has a video out there from when he was in high school, and he actually, struck a woman, but he has... from all accounts, he has been rehabilitated from that. So would they take a chance on a guy like that? Would they not? You've got guys like Clellan Ferrell from Clemson. You've got a number of guys out there that can help this football team on the defensive side of the ball especially.
Is that the area you think they look for? Obviously, Kareem Hunt, if he is eligible to play, helps the run game quite a bit. That's a guy that was an all-pro. Do you look for them to beef up the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I do. Even when we asked new defensive coordinator Steve Wilks about would he like to have a pass rusher to pair with Myles Garrett, he said absolutely. You could never have too many good rushers. And some of the other coaches here have talked about, the defensive ends get there first. So, that's the first line of defense in terms of just affecting the passing game. So I do think that they will look there, and it would be nice to come out of something with another pass rusher. But once again, it's such a passing league now that you have to have a little bit of everything. They could also use, I think that they could use a very dominant, almost Aaron Donald-like defensive tackle if they can find that guy. And you might be able to get him at number 17.
When you look at what Steve Wilks brings, that's a guy that's a big-time defensive secondary coach. Does that mean good things for Denzel Ward, you think, and the young defensive players that they have?
Yes, absolutely 100%. He's got such a strong secondary background. It'll be an opportunity for Denzel Ward and some of the other young defensive backs to really step up their game, take it to the next level, and bring out the best in them. And I think that you'll see that, and he's also very big on takeaways, just like these guys were last year, so I would expect that to continue.
As always, we appreciate the time. Mary Kay Cabot, the Browns beat reporter for cleveland.com. You can check her out online or in the pages of the Plain Dealer.